again, I just think every person before they get a driver's license should have to go to Van Nuys Women's Prison and just look at what awaits you if you choose to get behind the wheel drunk.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez. It's great to see you, Margie.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're convening for the second time this week because Beverly Hills was so good. Our initial attempt at doing our Orange County episode derailed straight into Beverly Hills because it just would not be ignored. So now we're going to give Orange County a go.
Yep. So we're going to close this out. We're going to bring Orange County full circle. I think we can all agree it's time to let this go to rest, go to bed. It is what it is. Movingon.org.
So it's the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion part 3. And we pick up where we left off, if memory serves, and then Shannon talking about how she's been on the show for 10 years and Alexis saying she's been a TV star for 15, which just brought up a lot of questions.
It brought up a lot of TikToks and Reels.
Oh, did it really?
And so many of people like documenting her alleged 15 years of TV appearances. And to be honest, it wouldn't be anything I would be like sitting on a Bravo reunion couch talking about. But that's
Alexis
just me.
Made so many strange choices. She died on so many weird hills in this episode. Like, there's no world where she comes back. There's just, especially, I did see that the lawsuit settled, the John Janssen, Shannon Bedore lawsuit settled, and there must have been a non-disparagement agreement in there. So he can't go on the show anymore. Alexis can't go on the show anymore. She's just got to be put out to pasture, right?
I mean, throwing it all away for John Janssen.
They're never going to make it.
Couldn't be me.
But I do wonder if the engagement will break up and then she'll be back on. And then she'll have her mea culpa year of like, I'm sorry, Shannon, you're right. He was a monster. I didn't see it. I was caught up in love bombing. I was grieving my mother. I didn't know. Like, there's a way for her to get back on the show.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd watch Alexis Redemption, but as long as she had like a straight up Gillette mea culpa.
It's just, I don't think she'll put anything ahead of a man ever. Because she went straight from Jim Bellino to being engaged to that doofus that she was on Below Deck with, where they were like making out all over the boat. That engagement broke up, and then she went straight into John Janssen was engaged in 20 minutes, to him.
Gross.
So,
Gross. So when the episode starts, everyone's at Emily's house. Dubrow, Gina, Emily, obviously. Tamra comes in. They're all yenting it up, and we see a shot of Shannon looking like she's crying, and then a dramatic title card that says 36 hours later. And then we resume on the reunion soundstage with the Shannon-Alexis fight. And Andy looks bummed. He looks so over it and exhausted.
Yeah, I think his face spoke for all of us at that moment. I was just like, stop yelling at each other. And I did appreciate Shannon for saying, look, congratulations on your engagement, Alexis. I don't want to talk about you anymore, And then Alexis gets into, I don't know, my notes are crazy. John has new teeth and he's finally happy. And then they put up pictures of, and I believe all of these things are true. I think he did get new teeth, and I do think he's happier with Alexis than he was with Shannon. But I don't know if that will last. And I could not care less. Simply could not care less.
I couldn't either. I literally don't care if I ever hear John Janssen again. If I was at, because sometimes I think it would be kind of fun to go to Orange County and go to Javier's or go to
The Quiet Woman. Yeah.
But if John Janssen was there, I don't even know if I would I wouldn't do like a boots on the ground, for example, for Reddit. Like, I went to the Quiet Woman and John Janssen was there. Like, he's not worth it. I would text you if I wasn't with you there. But
yeah. Oh my God. I was on a hike the other day and I hiked past Rand. Lala's
did?
ex. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us everything.
There's
Tell us
nothing to
everything.
tell. I just saw this like blustering asshole coming up the mountain toward me, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's loud at 7:30 in the morning. And then he gets closer and closer, and I was like, oh my God. And that was it. There's nothing to this story, which is why it's not, that would be the same experience of seeing John Janssen. It'd be like, yes, he's exactly what you expected. Not as good looking as you'd hope, and just kind of a dud of a personality. So
Runyon,
of course. Yeah,
of course. Oh, man, Runyon. You just never knew who you were going to see there. And the fact that, like, when you said Rand, my brain conjured up an image of Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé. They're just so interchangeable. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Watch 90 Day Fiancé, so I don't know who it is.
It's okay. He's a troll of a man, honestly, on every level. It's just I shouldn't even utter his name. I shouldn't sully our podcast time with his name. He's so gross. He's not a good person.
I mean,
anyway, neither is Rand.
In the reality TV sphere, so he belongs here.
Yes, that's true. That's true. There was something about bad knees and new teeth, and I'm like, this is Alexis
claiming disparagement. I'm like, those are facts. Those are facts for everyone over 50.
He's just embarrassed. Yeah,
I know. Like, you don't get to sue for that. And then Alexis defends. So we somehow get to talking about John Janssen's outburst at the party last season, where he said,
"Oh yeah,"
he said, "Who the fuck does she think she is?" about Gina. Mm-hmm. And Alexis says it's because he was hangry.
He was hangry.
He had not eaten that day.
Yep.
And I don't know. That's like fine for a child, but like an adult doesn't get to act out like that again. And on high alert for all things alcoholism. That kind of outburst is not fueled by hanger. It's usually fueled by Grey Goose or something.
Seriously. Yeah, absolutely.
Just the absolute like lack of control, cussing loudly about a woman at a party. It's just like, and Shannon was embarrassed. Like the whole thing, he's a nightmare. Good luck, Alexis. Good luck.
Yeah, and before Gina said that, it was just, I just feel like this tweet is relevant. Someone named Aiden from Cincinnati said, Shannon, it looks like the most important things to John is that people think he's a good guy. And that's what brought Gina to say he was such an ass. And we see the tape, like he was so gross. Yeah. Someone's always protecting that man.
That in his campaign to prove he's a good guy on this season, he absolutely exposed himself in every way that he's a complete asshole.
That's the arrogance. In some of the alcoholics in my life, like that is like the arrogance. Like you think you can just like manage every single outcome or how you're perceived, and you'll do whatever you can do to like to try to do that, but it's just gonna fail spectacularly. Like,
I mean, he
brought it on himself.
He did, and he was and he thought he was so smooth in all of those interviews that he and Alexis did side by side, and he just dug himself the deepest, darkest hole in petrified shit that anyone could ever manage.
Totally.
It was really, it was appropriate. It was an expose. Alexis is claiming that all of the negativity about John was spread by Shannon. And Shannon, along with everyone on the couch, reminds Alexis that all Shannon has done up until this year is defend John Janssen with her life. And then
even Andy says that.
Yeah, we see flashbacks of the reunion last year. They talk about how that was the whole season last year was based around how Shannon called everybody to complain about John Janssen, and then on camera was like, he's wonderful, he's perfect, he's great. So Alexis is just like, I don't know what world she's living in.
I don't either.
She makes no sense. She's nonsense.
Yeah. Alexis said that they did forensic accounting on the relationship.
God, calm down.
I just can't imagine, like, unless I had access, like a friend or family member that was a forensic accountant, if I'm feeling like I need to sue somebody for $75,000, what am I doing spending disposable income on a forensics accountant?
He's obsessed. They're both obsessed.
Another telltale sign of an addict is the obsession.
Complete.
The obsession, yeah.
And again, Alexis's relationship with John is centered around Shannon. Like once Shannon is no longer a factor in that relationship, like who are they to each other? The fact that she's this involved and invested in this lawsuit that has nothing to do with her. It all happened before she was around. It's not like the Jim Bellino one where she was his ex, so she was an interested party. She's not an interested party. This is so stupid. And her commitment to this is just shocking.
It's questionable. Yeah, it's not admirable.
It also made me wonder a little bit. Again, I go into weird conspiracy holes. Like, did John Janssen get on the show, like date Alexis to get on the show for this purpose of trying to clear his name in the same season that he knew Shannon would be trying to tear him down?
I mean, you would not be the first person to theorize that.
Okay.
No.
Because
so
he
much
feels
speculation.
so,
yeah.
like that email question said, he seems so, his primary commitment is to his image. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went through a whole engagement just to be on this season so he could make his counterpoint, not accept full repayment of the loan because of the non-disparagement agreement, which would have protected both of them. But he wanted to be able to have his say, which was such a bad move. Oh my God.
It's a really bad move. Another tweet says, Alexis, what's up? There were lemons in a bowl, Ferragamo's in his feet. Like, why were you intentionally trying to throw shade?
With her engagement announcement.
In her engagement announcements, yeah. Another tweet comes in that asks Dubrow, hey, you said last year that he does want to be in the spotlight. Do you still believe this? And she said, yes, I absolutely still believe it. And I was like, yeah, we all do. We all still believe it. I mean, this is a relentless, rabid, committed, loyal, fervent fan base. There is a convention for Bravo. If he doesn't want to be in the spotlight, what are you doing? He's going to the restaurants. He's dating someone that's a former cast member that still is on the periphery, back to back.
He didn't even take a break.
He's willful. This is a willful choice, you know?
And then we have this first interview segment with John and Alexis where John is talking about his relationship with Alexis having happened organically. He claimed he was single for a year before meeting and dating Alexis. And again, I'm not deeply invested, but I know that ain't true.
Right.
He picked her up from the DUI. He was by her side. We saw pictures of them exit. Like, what are you doing, dude? I guess technically you weren't, like, your Facebook status wasn't like boyfriend, girlfriend with Shannon Bedore, but like you were not fucking single. You were with the woman you'd been with for the 5 years prior. And Alexis trying to play it off like it was friends with benefits. It's like that. Once you've been in a relationship for 4 years, that option is off the table. It will forever be way too deep for that. So, okay.
And Shannon is saying, and I believe her, that like everything he told Alexis is what he told me.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
It's really heartbreaking. And like,
but we've all been there. The ex who has the script that he uses on everyone. And it's like, oh no, God. I thought that was for me. It's for anybody?
Yeah, no, it's for anybody. It's for anybody. And it's like used until it sticks. And
yeah, true.
I look back on my one person that was probably like a John Janssen. At the time, there wasn't a term for love bombing, but like I look back and I'm like, oh my God. And instead, I just thought it was like, oh, he was just super romantic. Oh, he was just like over the top and really, but like, no, it was awful. Like he's probably the closest to like someone like Ryan Bojoyan that I ever dated. Jen's partner. Yeah.
But
lies.
Weirdly, Ryan is, I would rather spend time with Ryan than John Janssen.
Fascinating.
Because at least Ryan, I don't know if he believes anything he says, but he's thoughtful enough to say shit that applies to a situation. John Janssen is just like vague, nothing. If we can get through this negativity, we can get through anything. What does that mean? You can say that when you're 20 because you haven't lived through anything yet. But at that age, you should have something specific to say. You're about to marry this woman, and it's just like, whatever. Yeah. then they just go back and forth about, oh God.
So much back and forth.
So much back and forth
shouting.
about how long in the relationship,
awful.
I love you text. And that text was a bummer. They showed a text because Shannon was saying to Alexis, like, he may claim he was single for a year, but we spent all of our time together. He sent text messages saying, I love you, up to weeks before he met you. And then they show one of these text messages that was just, again, we've all been in this relationship where someone's like, I'm sorry today didn't go as planned. Not my intention to hurt your feelings. We'll have more time to spend together tomorrow. I love you. It's like, oh God, you know the feeling that motivated that text, or I do at least. I've been in enough of those situations where it's like, oh, that's not a fun relationship to be in. And then Gina interjects saying to Alexis, how do you know everything that happened before you were there? As Alexis is trying to like fact check Shannon on the details of her relationship, Shannon's relationship with John Janssen. And then Alexis whines to Daddy Andy, like, Andy, they cannot all gang up on me. I'm not taking a 3 gang up on.
She's so
Girl.
Stupid. I'm sorry. Like,
take a breath.
I know. It's just so, I mean, I think we were all Emily when Emily was like, you're the dumbest girl I ever met. Like, poor, and I hate saying that about another woman, but like, Alexis is, God bless.
You can't go from I'm not taking a 3 gang up on to saying that you're not dumb. You've created a real uphill battle for yourself.
And at some point, Alexis says, Shannon, move on. And when Andy said she has, like the cast, and then when Andy said it, I was like, thank you. And there is no world in which Shannon Bedore wants this man back. It's done. Like I feel like Alexis is really leaning so hard into that story that Shannon's just upset because she's obsessed with the fact that they broke up and she wants him back. And it's just well, I can't imagine being that ignorant. No. I didn't have anything important to say.
She's doing that classic projection thing of like, Shannon, you're obsessed with him. You're obsessed with tearing him down. Oh. And it's like, she's literally not. She's tried to pay him off and be done with this. You guys are obsessed with her. And it's so crazy. And Alexis, again, she had so many moments where she really lost her footing in her mouth with her words. She said, as Emily's saying, like, don't call me dumb. You're an idiot. You're the dumbest girl I ever fucking met. Alexis goes, I graduated with a degree, baby cakes. Graduated with a degree. And I was like, you said graduated with a baby. You're so dumb. Oh, no.
She is. She is. And she just like, don't go up against Emily. Just don't go up against Emily Simpson. She will eviscerate you.
Yeah.
She'll eviscerate you. If she doesn't do it with her wit, she'll eviscerate it with her, like, her rage, like it's just like abandon hope, Alexis. This is not a fair fight.
When Emily is vibrating at that energetic level where she was like, you're the dumbest fucking person I've ever met.
Yep,
it's like, do not come for that.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
She is trained to take you down in a courtroom and she will have no problem doing it on a reunion stage.
And then Gina comes in with like the first of the many wise nuggets, wise interjections in this episode, whether on the soundstage or afterwards. But she stepped in thankfully and dropped a really good perspective. Like Alexis, she dated him for years. They barely broke up, and the two of you are on socials being in the love bubble. Come on, that's hard for anybody. And it's true. It's so true. Like, anyway, Andy asked Emily on her take on the promissory note. After the fact, does that still make it a loan? And she says, no. And I'm like, I'm not a lawyer. And even I grok that, I think, like.
What does grok that mean?
Grok means get.
Oh.
Like, do you understand that? And I know, I hadn't really heard it. My husband used it once and I was like, is that a fake word? And he's like, you've never heard the word grok?
I was like, is it clock? Is it Gronkowski?
No,
what am I missing?
It's grok. And I was like, that's a fake fucking word, dude. It's a fake word or it's a fake tech word. And I Googled it, and he's not wrong. It's a real word, and it doesn't, it's grok.
Okay.
Grok, I believe. And so ever since I started learning the meaning of it, I'm like, I'm going to start using grok more. Because I think it sounds good. It sounds like a fake word, but it's real.
It does sound like a fake word, but until I learn it's not. I thought the first time you said it, I thought you said Gronk, like the football player. And I
Oh,
was like, what
no.
is, I was like, what does that mean? He's kind of like a big doofy guy. What is it? Like, I thought it was like Riz, or I thought it was one of those words. It's
Oh,
like born of something that I don't know anything about.
oh
Anyways,
God,
who
I
gives a
hope
shit?
not.
Anyways, I guess I got a little lost here. Where
It was
are
really, it's
we?
easy to get lost when everyone is arguing. It's easy to get lost when there's so much arguing. We see text messages between Shannon and John discussing the money. A loan document was sent, per Shannon, and he said that in her times of need, she came to me for loans. And he said, Shannon, I'm going to help you. You know how volatile our relationship is. Even if shit gets bad, you know you need to pay me back. And he loaned her $40,000, and she was supposed to pay him back in 2 months. I did get lost a little bit because there was so much arguing and back and forth.
Yeah, John can go to hell. This whole, like, again, if we're talking about like non-disparagement, saying things about like Shannon coming to you in times of need, implying that she's, always on the brink. Like, he's just a dick. So
He is.
congratulations, dude.
I agree.
And
I
he
agree.
said he's such an asshole. He ended this segment by saying, if we go to trial, there's no doubt we will win. Collecting the money from Shannon may be another story. And I was like, you are so rude.
It's so gross.
She offered
It's so
to pay in
gross.
full. She
Mm-hmm.
offered to pay in full. And then Alexis got all bent out of shape about a payment plan. And everyone else on the couch is like, isn't that how loans are paid back? With a payment plan. And that can involve interest. Like, she's not trying to screw him. She's just trying to get away from you
Oh my
guys.
God, I know. There was a discussion about why, if the show's over and we're at the reunion, why has he not taken the offer? And subsequently he has, but when they were taping it. Jen said the timing is terrible. Emily had a flashback to Guerneville asking Alexis when Alexis decided not to go to dinner that night. That was the night that Emily was wearing the Aloe SponCon jacket, the faux fur, but it said Aloe on the sleeve. And I'll never leave that. That image will never leave, because I was like, you sewed something into the nap of the faux fur. It just really stuck out to me. I'm sorry. Probably something my ADHD brain hooked into. My point is that it didn't, everyone's kind of like in the same boat we all are. Like, why wait until you're shooting a season?
And in that flashback, Alexis was like,
this?
I don't know what you mean. Oh, there's something wrong with this. I don't know. It's like, of course, this is all calculated and planned, and like, don't play us for fools. It's all so John Janssen could get his voice heard on camera this season. That's
Agreed.
It wasn't
Agreed.
ever about the money. It's all about him trying to protect his reputation that he himself trampled on by performing like this. So
Apparently he
cheers.
waited because of the statute of limitations. I just call bullshit on all of it. We all call bullshit. Cares.
Even if that is so, you also just wanted to be on the show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is, you can use that to like couch how gross it is, but it's still gross.
Agreed.
And Alexis is like taunting Shannon to offer the full amount again, offer it again, offer it again. And Shannon said, you had your chance to get the full amount. Now it will be litigated because of this extortion element that Alexis brought into play. I guess we get into that later, because we have this little segment where Heather asks Katie and Jen if they can speak any good words on behalf of Alexis's character, since they've remained close with her after shooting went down. And Katie tried. She said she understood the concern with the non-disparagement agreement. And honestly, I do too. Because in a way, John Janssen doesn't know what Shannon has already said on camera. However, it hasn't aired yet. So if a non-disparagement agreement were signed, Shannon would bring that to the producers and say, you have to cut all of this or I will be sued to death. And they wouldn't let that happen. And anyways, Alexis's answer is, well, he just wants his money now. And it was like, oh, okay, well, that's,
I mean,
whatever.
This is when we pivot to what I called Videogate. John said this: it is my intent for anyone to never see them. It was an extremely traumatic night for me and my children, and Shannon hasn't taken responsibility. I would show her the video if she wants. And Alexis pipes in and says, with me in the room. And it sounded just like really, really rehearsed. At that point, Shannon says she doesn't know what could be on the video. And then there's the flashback of Katie telling Emily about the ring cam and Shannon being on camera almost running over his daughter.
I do want to say it was important that John mentioned He said it was a traumatic night for me and my adult children. So to be clear, like the way this was being, at least the way I didn't understood it, is that a small child had been like under the wheel well of Shannon's, but these are, I don't know, not that it excuses anything Shannon did, but like I guess there continues to be like little pieces of information that I'm like, wait, what? Like,
Yeah.
a different picture had been painted in my head. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, this was a grown up? Because initially I was like, why were they fighting in front of children? I don't know. Who cares? Anyways, John is just being punitive and honestly like abusive by saying he'd showed the videos to Shannon because she's claimed he's a monster, but he could show her what a monster really is. I was like,
exactly.
Jesus, dude. And I swear he like relished threatening her with those videos. Relished
100%. 100%. Somebody asks, probably Andy asks Alexis, do you regret bringing up the videos? And she totally played the victim and was like, everyone was asking me about John. I don't remember everyone asking her about John.
She said, I didn't realize I was on camera. I'm like, girl, 20 minutes ago, you just told us you've been on TV for 15 years. What do you mean? Oh, suddenly you're not conscious of a mic pack or a camera? Like, give me a break.
I know. She says she was defending her man, and I was just like, ew, gross.
And on the side, kind of sweetly, Shannon takes Gina's hand because clearly, I mean, this would be really hard. This year for Shannon has been just really hard. And
it has been.
To have to sit down and relive it with this idiot across the couch, I would have a hard time keeping it together too. I would either want to yell or cry or something. It's just too charged because she has no compassion, no decorum, nothing to give any thought to like what Shannon's experience of her might be like, but forget it. Yeah, so she pulls this, she said, I wasn't supposed to say it then. And I was like, that sounds like you got direction from your weird boyfriend.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
And then claims she didn't realize it was on camera. And claims it was just as hard for her to shoot this season as it was for Shannon. Bullshit. You're happy and newly in love. That's very different than being dumped at the bottom of a DUI. Like, please, Alexis.
While also fighting with your quote unquote best friend.
Right. And being sued for a big sum of money.
Right. Ugh. And like being a full on dick to Gina all last season. And then like getting the ultimate in a humbling experience happen, have to go back, clean up that, broken up, and Alexis, whose ex-husband sued me into oblivion, is now dating my toxic ex-boyfriend. When you say it like that, that's a lot.
It's so much. And to live it out over the course of the season is one thing because you get to like grow and move past it a little bit. But then to have to just literally sit and stew in it in the course of a reunion would have been really hard.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. I just think it speaks a lot to Gina's recovery that she was able to be that supportive of Shannon. You know? I mean, honestly. Because, I mean, Gina has so many reasons that she could just bow out. Like her behavior around alcohol triggers me. I got to take some space. She said disgusting things about me that were wildly untrue about my children. Using like bringing in CPS. That's
damaging.
Shots fired. Who said shots fired on one of these Fakakta shows? Shots fired. Oh, what's her name? Married to the Mob. Leah said shots fired.
Leah.
Yeah, exactly.
McSweeney?
We don't. Yes, Leah McSweeney, the one who's.
I forgot she's
her,
like a.
So did everybody, except for what's happening with her trying to sue Bravo. So.
Oh right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Anyway,
it's time, as Shannon said, it's time for the friend to leave the room. And Andy asks what Alexis's friendship goal is now, because during the season she had said she wanted to reconcile with Shannon, at least to a place where they can be in the same room together. And then she fights that. Like Alexis, just every semantic, she's like, I didn't say I want to be friends. I said amicable. And thank God Andy finally dismisses Alexis. And Shannon, again, good for her, taking care of herself. She needed a break. And she told Andy in a relatively calm fashion and just said, I need to take a break. And he said, okay. We all sort of scatter for a spell as Alexis says goodbye. And then we get the most telling moment, I thought, between Andy and Tamra, where all of my fantasies of Tamra not coming back to the show were shattered, where he sat her down and praised her for not screaming and losing her mind and saying that, you know, when she can remain present, she's real good. And I was like, oh, shit,
when you're
Tamra's here to stay.
When you're not losing your mind, you make sense. Yep. Oy, oy, oy. That is also the time when they're on stage waiting for when everyone's gathering back after their break. That's when we see the soundbite that Emily says, every trash can needs a lid, and John Janssen found his in Alexis. So
yeah, man.
Alexis wasn't there to hear it.
Everyone was reeling from those interviews with John Janssen. Like not a single soul could believe what they had just seen.
Yeah.
And then Emily did get one little, you know, she fired back a little bit at Heather when everyone was getting touch-ups on stage and she wouldn't stand up for her touch-up. And she's like, whatever, doesn't matter what I look like. I'm a size 12. And everyone went like, ooh, for a second. And then she did the thing where I was like, oh, you're not healed yet, because she added on, it's a medium and it's too big for me. I was like, Emily,
I know.
It's okay. Nobody cares. But then she opened up that next segment with every trash can needs a lid. And I think John Janssen found his, and that will forever, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that is iconic. That is
agreed.
The best possible read of that relationship anyone could
I'm
give.
Sure somebody on Etsy has already made a Christmas ornament of it.
A trash can and a lid. I hope so.
Yes.
I hope that's how they send out their save the date invitations.
Oh my God. Every trash can needs a lid. That would be hilarious.
If they had a sense of humor, it'd be great. Then we get into a mean girl behavior debate segment where Emily asks Jen how she can say she doesn't subscribe to mean girl behavior and be friends with Alexis. And Andy subsequently asks how Emily can ask that when she's friends with Tamra.
I loved it.
I thought it was so great. And Jen, you know, does her Jen thing, which is sincere. She says, what do I do? Just judge her and throw her away?
I just met her.
Yeah.
You know, I have to get to know her for myself. Yeah.
And apparently Jen and Katie both have spoken with Alexis about dropping the lawsuit. And it sounds like Alexis expressed concern about public opinion. And Jen and Katie were like, if you want that to change, you have got to tell John to drop the lawsuit. There's no other way, which he didn't wind up doing. So that's who they are.
And now she has the stink of John Janssen on her until they break up and she goes scorched earth. And then he's going to sue her for something. And there's going to have to be a non-disparagement. And so I don't know. Like, good luck.
You lay down with dogs, you get fleas, man. And then Emily's right. She says that threatening to release those videos is actively trying to humiliate Shannon on a global scale. And Emily makes the distinction that everyone in the cast behaves badly, but they back down. Eventually they back down. And Alexis never did. To the second she left that stage, she was combative and defensive of all of these actions that are just wrong. They're just wrong. Yeah.
Agreed. Shannon does appreciate Emily being a ride or die, though. And it's just then more chaos ensues. It's so hard for me to understand. Listen, watching a reunion is fine. Taking notes on a reunion is another. It's very hard to decipher what all of these people are shouting about. I don't know. Maybe it was just me.
No, there was this episode in particular, there was a lot of over talking. And then there was a lot of, while other conversations were going on, the editors put in subtitles of other conversations. And I was like, wait, what? Who? Huh?
I know.
But eventually we get to a segment where Tamra and Shannon like kind of make up, initiated by Andy noticing that Tamra was being supportive of Shannon as all of that was going down with Alexis. Shannon appreciated it. She understands Tamra's looks and saw looks of acknowledgement and support from her. They hug, and then Tamra does what she does every year and says, I'm sorry, I miss us. I was just worried about you. And Jen, that is one of the moments where they subtitled a side conversation because Jen was right to read this as bullshit. She's like, Tamra's doing what she always does. She's going to say she did this out of love, and it's just, you know, it's bullshit.
My note was, I'm afraid Shannon's going to get Lucy Van pelted. Tamra is going to snatch away that football next season at some point, and Shannon's going to fall.
I will say, though, I did notice that Tamra was saying, I love you, I miss you, and Shannon just said, okay, okay. She didn't say it back, which is like kind of major. And then I did appreciate, again, in terms of what matters on this podcast, Shannon was like, my therapist told me this relationship with you is toxic. And Shannon simply said that she's not proud of a lot of what she's done, but she's proud of who she is and who she's becoming. And she believes she saw something in Tamra that recognized that in her, that made her feel safe enough to share that hug, I guess. I don't know where it will lead, but I don't know. Shannon does seem, like in process of becoming someone more fully realized, which is hopeful. But man,
hope so.
Tamra must be really persuasive.
Oh, yeah. She's a master manipulator. Master manipulator.
But Shannon, again, had a read on it because she said that she's like, I hugged you the same way I hugged Vicky a couple years ago. I didn't want to, but I saw something in her eyes that made me see she understood what she had done wrong and she was truly contrite. So that it sort of felt like Shannon was addressing Tamra like, I don't want this, or like, but didn't Shannon initiate the hug? I forget. I don't know.
I forget too.
Whatever. Andy's just writing hard for this Tamra Shannon friendship to survive. So clearly we will see more of it next season.
So they're kind of like giving their last, thoughts. Shannon's glad it's over. She found a lifeline in her castmates. I believe that. And she was strong in her vulnerability. That's also something that I would like to give a plug for vulnerability. And that it is true. Like when you're able to be vulnerable with people, that is like one of the strongest things you can do. Whether or not those people are safe to be vulnerable with is something that you need to figure out for yourself. But like, it's nice to go to bed at the end of the day knowing, yeah, I was vulnerable and it felt like shit maybe, or it was a scary thing to do, but it was my truth. If that makes sense at all.
It totally does.
Yeah.
It totally does. Going to bed without, or just living life without having to hide things or keep secrets is just, there's like a lot of peace in that. Even if life is on a bumpy track at any given moment, there's just access to peace.
Yeah.
Just in the truth.
Tamra's leaving happy and surprised. She's leaving wanting to move forward. She didn't like what she saw of herself this season. It exploded and went too far. Emily's feeling good about her relationships with everyone. And Heather says she's glad things got resolved, but she appreciates how everyone came together at the reunion. And Katie acknowledges that she appreciated Heather's gesture at the break, which is much more than I did because I thought it was bullshit and I thought that it was Heather doing damage control or realizing after the fact, like, oh, I'm a fucking asshole.
But this is where Katie's a brilliant housewife. She kissed the ring just enough to stay on one more season. I really think that she wanted this on camera, her acknowledging, like, I want the world to know that Heather approached me and said something sensitive, and I want Heather to see me acknowledge something benevolent about her because that will keep, I just feel like that was...
I love this.
I don't know if it was so calculated, but it did feel like interesting that she wanted to bring that up like in the wrap up. And Heather looked appropriately pleased, like the queen was pleased. And I was like,
ew, God, you're right. Oh, I'm so annoyed. Yeah, I bet they bring both Jen and Katie back.
Oh, I think so. Because we're going to have Jen's wedding season, or
what's going to happen with her and Ryan.
Right, exactly.
I mean, she's got that, yes.
And Katie still has to go see her mom, and we've got lots.
And she's the only one that's gotten under Heather's skin.
It's so thrilling.
So, yeah, agreed.
Agreed. Then we have a big NFL gift segment that I was like, this is filler. I don't know why. I didn't need to see everyone's jersey. They weren't that cute.
They were not cute.
It was, but again, it was just a promo spot because Andy was like, oh, wow, gifts from the NFL on Peacock. I was like, dude.
Exactly.
Can we just not?
Totally.
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you. I'm sure we have the same note. If we don't,
And
maybe really
historic, yes. We go out with a toast with espresso martinis and some mocktails for those not drinking, and Heather toast to an historic season.
An historic season.
And wishes everyone love and blessings.
Aye.
And then we get a moment of Andy praising Tamara's performance even more, you know?
Oh, boy.
He's like, you did great. And she rolls her eyes. And then he reminds her she has to go to therapy tomorrow. Just note that, okay? Tamara made a big fucking deal. This was shot on Sunday and she had therapy tomorrow. And now we go to 36 hours later and Tamara has still not been to therapy. But she claims she's going tomorrow. Now tomorrow she's going. This is very reminiscent of Jax Taylor on The Valley when he promised Brittany he would go to therapy, but then he was like, oh, it's in Malibu and it was too far to drive. So I canceled. I was like,
my God.
If you don't want to go to therapy, you'd find a way to not go. And Tamara found a way to proclaim therapy on the reunion. And then she got fucking busted because she didn't go. And then claimed that after this taping, now she'll go tomorrow. It's so annoying and crazy to me.
Agreed.
Anyways.
So 36 hours later, the cast has gathered at Emily's. Dubrow says that she and Terry and Tamra and Eddie got to go to dinner with Alexis and John Janssen after the season finale party. So that was the finale, not the reunion, but after Jen's
Barbie engagement
uncatered
party.
Barbie engagement party at Agape. Good job, Alexis. And something came up about the night of the accident. And John said, I heard the crash. And she and Tamra got really mad at that he heard the crash and then didn't go.
But he did. He tried. Like, it's all just so, again, so dark and fucked up and just alcoholism 101. John reported he heard the accident. He went to run after her. His daughter, Al-Anon, stopped him because there had been a physical fight between John and Shannon leading up to Shannon peeling out. So the daughter stops her dad. Then the daughter goes to the scene and sees Shannon pulling away from the scene. Like, it's just, to me, it just made me feel sick and sad. And I'm like, this is so enmeshed and dark and fucked up that night, that DUI is so loaded with shit left in its wake. She pulled out of that driveway and that family is... she left them in ruins behind her. It's just everything about that night was a disaster. And also, I don't care that he heard the accident. Like, of course he did. Are we surprised he's a bad guy? I'm not.
Right.
Like, is this news? Why did we have to pick cameras up for this? Heather, fuck off.
Right. Shannon doesn't remember. She doesn't remember that she hit him. She doesn't obviously remember everything that happened after she peeled out, hitting the house, ditching her car in the street, trying to walk home with Archie. She does not have recollection of that. And she feels a lot of shame. And again, Gina breaks it down and says, you're not a terrible person. You'll take responsibility if you need to.
And she said, you've changed your relationship with alcohol. And I thought that was so generous because Shannon is not sober. She's not dry. But Gina, and I think she's right. Shannon has changed her relationship with alcohol. And as Shannon's saying, what if I did such a bad thing as punch John Janssen? Everyone said I punched him. And Gina just said, you'll take responsibility for what's on the videos, just like you took responsibility for the accident. And it's so, like, it's just so lovely. It's like, there's no shame. What's the point in being ashamed of it? It happened or it didn't. And whatever happened, you'll take responsibility for. And what didn't happen is not yours to bear. So
exactly. Yeah, I really, really, really appreciated Gina and her perspective. And I believed her. I believe that that's what Gina does I mean, maybe we'll see that with her. Maybe, I take that back.
What?
Well, because I don't agree with the fact that she broke up her family.
I don't either.
But you know what? It doesn't matter. Does she have to be completely perfect for me to approve of this? No, she doesn't. So I do.
This moment
Never
is
mind.
really lovely and valuable.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
And then Tamra suggests that she and Shannon go to friendship therapy. And Emily, I thought it was interesting. She's like, I've been. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And that's when we find out Tamra still hasn't gone to therapy. And Heather co-signs that, saying she got a week reprieve. I'm like, oh, did she? Or did she fucking cancel it? Then heard cameras were going back up, made another appointment that she will subsequently cancel.
Oh,
I have no faith in Tamra. And again, after she went to one therapy appointment, whenever the hell that actually happened, is when she decided after 10 minutes, someone loosely mentioned the autism Asperger's spectrum, and she decided she had it all. And it was just like, you are terrible.
She's still leaving wreckage in her wake.
Yeah.
Right. Agreed. Shannon is taking in all the love and the support. They are rallying around her. She feels bonded to them. She said the worst night of her life was the DUI, and the DUI is the thing bringing them together at that time. And that is a nice perspective to have, that in a lot of 12-step rooms and a lot of spiritual teachings, one of the tenets is everything happens for a reason. I think that this was an example of Shannon kind of echoing that sentiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or it's that 12-step thing of no matter how far down the scale you have gone, you will see how your experience can benefit others. And it doesn't have to be a direct one-to-one correlation. Her experience benefited the group. It brought them all together in a new way.
Yeah.
But it is also, I did appreciate Shannon in the course of the reunion talking about the specifics of what happened in the moment before she made the choice to get behind the wheel. And I hope people listen to it. I certainly heard it, and it's always a good reminder. She was in a fight with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend called her a drunken idiot. She didn't want to leave her car there because she didn't want to have to go back to get it the next morning. That, again, it makes logical sense. But when you're drunk, hopefully if people have heard Shannon tell this story, they can remind themselves when they have what feels like such a logical thought, get out of here, get all your stuff and go forever. Don't. Just go to the fucking curb and call an Uber, call a friend. Don't get in your fucking car, because it opens up this whole can of worms. And as far as like, no matter how far down the scale we've gone, we'll see how our experience can benefit others. I thought that was like I'm so glad she broke down step by step how she wound up getting in her car. And it was almost a fuck you to him. Like, you think I'm a drunken idiot? Well, I'm going to leave a drunken idiot and prove myself to be an even bigger drunken idiot. And, nobody needs that. So a little PSA action from Shannon.
Yep.
I've certainly been in that situation, but I had the good fortune, I've shared here before, I've shared everywhere I can, of picking up a friend from a DUI arrest at the Van Nuys Women's Prison. And I was like, I will never drive drunk because you have to spend the night in the Van Nuys Women's Prison.
Oh, God.
And my friend was arrested on a Friday. So she was under threat of staying till Monday in the same clothes in a holding cell, an overfull holding cell where you're fed like a squeeze bag of peanut butter. Like, it's just like, again, I just think every person before they get a driver's license should have to go to Van Nuys Women's Prison and just look at what awaits you if you choose to get behind the wheel drunk. So anyways, that was my scared straight moment. And perhaps Shannon's story will encourage other people when they have that.
I really hope so.
High and mighty thought just to get the fuck out of there, to make sure you're not 3 times over the legal limit if you're going to do so.
Gnarly. What else did you watch between now and Friday when we last saw each other?
Nothing. I watched what is also my antidepressant, which was just that, not the movie itself necessarily. I went to see Wicked on its opening weekend, but I went with like a group of friends who were so enthusiastic about it. And I enjoy the stage show, and the movie is good, but I saw Anna Gasteyer in the lead role. And so there was like a much more of a sense of humor about it when I saw it on Broadway. And this is a much more serious interpretation of Wicked. But it was great. And it was just nice to be in a room of people who like the theater was packed. Everyone was there just appreciating the shit out of every moment. I think I told you they made an announcement before the movie where they asked people not to sing along, explicitly said, like, be quiet, and that includes singing. And it was just like, it was great. And, it was at the Grove, and the Grove's all decorated for Christmas, and like, it was cold. Everyone was wearing coats, and it just felt like a I don't know. It was like kind of a weirdly magical night out. Like it's a very long movie and like
Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing it in two parts, except that more people will go to the movies and that's not a bad thing. God knows this industry needs some sort of draw. So
For sure.
it was fun
For
to see
sure.
a packed house. It was so packed they were sold out of peanut M&Ms. The whole damn theater was sold out. That's how many people were in the theaters that night. So
Wow.
it
Wow.
was just kind of a nice experience of like people being
Totally.
out in, cold weather to have like a community experience. It was great.
The Grove is festive at Christmas time.
It is. It's cute. It's ridiculous and it's darling.
It
And
is,
like walking through the
absolutely.
farmer's market with the wreath up over the clock,
Oh, God.
and the little trolley
Yeah.
was going and they have all
Yeah.
these
The
this
menorah's out.
yes, and this like
Yes.
big nutcracker display, all these like white nutcrackers, and then Santa and his dumbass sleigh over the top. But
Mhm.
there's something about it that's just charming. It just
Yeah.
was.
Agreed. Agreed.
How about you? What did you watch and or what was your
Um,
antidepressant?
I watched the Martha Stewart documentary on Netflix. Again, thought I knew everything, didn't know shit. Didn't know shit. And while I cannot co-sign on all of her choices or the way she behaves, I want to go on the record and say, fuck Jim Comey. And I would have said fuck Jim Comey for myriad reasons before I watched this documentary. But I really wish that as we enter into this holiday season, I hope he has the holiday season he deserves.
Does not seem to like women very
No, he is a
much now,
piece of
does he?
shit. He is a
He
piece
really
of
takes
shit.
pointed attacks at like, that was an interesting element.
Never saw that coming. Never
And
saw that
also,
coming.
everyone, it's so tricky because everyone he does pursue, like, it wasn't great, but it also was like so intentional from him of like target her, target her. It was just like fascinating. But it's well done, isn't it? That documentary.
So well done.
Yeah.
My God, so well done. And just, I don't have any of Martha Stewart's talents other than I really appreciate a well-curated tablescape. And I loved her magazines. I think I want to look for some of her books. I'm probably going to have to buy them all used, which is fine. They were talking about how, like, not everyone can do this. And it's like, I don't care that I can't. I don't care that this isn't my real everyday life. I like to look at it. That is what sparks joy for me, is looking at her magazine, looking at what she can create, and knowing, like, oh, God, if I ever did want to do that, I could. It's no secret I love decorating my house for the holidays. I love it so much. I'm going to start doing it probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. I've had a wreath up for weeks now that my friend made me, and it's so adorable. My point is that I get the Martha Stewart Living Christmas issue. I buy that for myself every year. I buy vintage Christmas decor magazines that come out once a year, and I love having that as a resource. Who gives a shit? Oh my God, I am so sorry I'm talking about this
Why? I love
for
it.
so long.
No,
But it is an antidepressant, I guess.
it is.
For
And
me,
also, I
is
think what was
decorating.
so great about Martha Stewart, like I watched her show from time to time back in the day
Same.
just because for her it was easy. She would say like, and then you just take your crafting scissors. I'm like, crafting scissors?
Right,
Like I have a
right.
rusty pair of nail scissors and then like some kid scissors that came with crayons I bought, like crafting scissors. But I just love that her world was organized in like, you go to your craft room and then you go to the greenhouse to get your, it's like, this is just imaginary made up. It's like, it might as well be Disneyland. It's like the way her home is set up is like nothing I could ever imagine. Like
I know.
there's like a, whatever, but there's something so soothing and beautiful about what comes from Martha picking up a pair of crafting scissors.
Oh,
It's like,
man.
even if it's not my style, I'm just like, well, that's amazing that you just made that you just painted a pine cone gold and it looks lovely.
It's a great documentary.
Yeah.
It's a great documentary.
And she
bar
hates
none.
it, which I also find hilarious.
She hates the documentary?
Oh, she's so mad about, she's talked in great detail about it. She's like, it looks like I'm limping around my garden. I just had an Achilles surgery and they didn't make any mention. So I just look like an old lady hobbling around. Like she's so mad.
Ma'am, you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Honestly,
like, in a bathing suit.
Isn't that just indicative of that personality that we learned about in the documentaries? Like, she's never satisfied. She's always mad.
Oh, God.
And she always thinks her image is being fucked with. And it's like, no, you came off as like, I don't know. She just came off as like a character, as a person. And a little bit of a narcissist. And who cares? You're a billionaire. You have all the fuck you money in the world. You're best friends with Snoop. Your life seems rad.
Which I hope she uses some of that money to go to therapy because her childhood was
terrible.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Just utter shit. Oh, my God. I was like, I did not turn this on for trauma. God damn it. But like, but it's everywhere.
Like, and every Martha Stewart or anyone of that ilk has it. And I don't want it to be a source of like shame for everyone. Like,
oh no, you're right. Yeah, no, not at all.
It
just makes me sad.
Yeah. My other antidepressant this week was Kendrick Lamar, like unexpectedly released a new album. And the first song on that album, I mean, he's amazing. He's just an incredible producer and lyricist and storyteller, and he's incredible. And that's about trauma and resentment, and it's just so fucking honest. And I feel about him the way I feel about Obama, that this is like a once-in-a-lifetime personality, and I feel very lucky to be alive like when Obama was president and when Kendrick Lamar is Kendrick Lamar. It's pretty fucking cool.
Agreed.
Worth a listen, that album. It's real good. Did you have another antidepressant, or was it just Martha Stewart Christmas?
No, that was just what I watched. And then I watched New York, and I can't remember anything other than I think Jessel talking about embryos and Pavitt saying no. And then I don't remember anything else. I don't remember anything else from that 42 minutes that I saw. I just don't remember anything. And
I got so mad at the last one that I watched that I was just like, I am not watching. I'm so disgusted.
Yeah.
Bryn is gross. Everyone's gross. Can't do it.
It's not good. And I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon. I'm not. Because I did enjoy
the bandwagon
last season.
exists because people have instruments they want to play to that tune.
Right. Let's see. What is my antidepressant? Let's see. My antidepressant is that I have therapy tomorrow because I can't do it on a regularly scheduled day because of the holiday. And so I'm really grateful that I have a therapist that made time for me to see me before Thanksgiving. And I guess it hasn't happened yet, but yes, I do get to start decorating this week.
Yay.
We'll put lights up outside in the next 24 to 48 hours, so that'll be good.
How are you guys doing with all the rain?
You know what? Not good.
Oh,
Not
shit.
well, bitch, as fucking Dorinda would say. Before we started this podcast, like December 2022, Oakland the Bay Area just had like catastrophic rains. People lost homes. Roads were washed away. Like, it was terrible. Our downstairs flooded.
Multiple times, right?
Multiple times, yes. And it flooded like I'm sitting in a booth here. I think it's still on bricks because we had to put it on bricks, rip out all the carpet, take everything out of this room. It doesn't matter. My point is that I still don't have I don't have a rec room still because I need to get floor and I don't fucking know how to get floor. So 2 years later. So Josh was down here like bailing water out for 24 hours.
In 2022, not
in 2022.
In this storm.
Yes.
Okay,
no, not in this recent storm that we're having right now.
Okay,
no.
good.
But
Thank God.
he did have 2 industrial strength, like should not be used in a residential area, sump pumps, because he's like, I will be damned if I go through that again.
Yeah.
So this man had 2 sump pumps put in, and in order to, he went above and beyond, even though they were brand new, he had people come out and take a look at them in September to make sure that they were functioning well and we could prepare ourselves the first time it rained. Sure enough, one of them shit the bed.
No.
Because it was installed incorrectly.
Wow.
And my poor husband, because it was raining and I was like, oh, God. You know what? Yes, my other antidepressant is I did ketamine therapy on Friday in the office in my arm. So it's like the good, strong, very hyper beneficial kind of ketamine therapy versus the one I do at home. And it was great. I had a great journey. I had some great insights. I felt immensely unburdened after that. So that's my big antidepressant. And so I'm on my way home after, and it's pouring, and all I can tell myself is, oh, thank God we have the industrial strength sump pumps because it's like raining sheets. And so I came home. I had to take a nap right after, which is customary. And then when I got up, my husband informed me that while I was asleep, the fucking sump pump failed and he was panicking and it was backing up and he had someone come out to fix it and they fixed it in 2 seconds.
Oh,
and
good.
yeah, I'm very glad. But no, I felt so bad for him.
I mean,
so bad.
You guys went through a lot in that
It was
2022
gnarly.
rain. So I'm sure there's some PTSD of
100%.
we cannot go through that again.
Yes.
It was just constant and
Yeah,
awful.
exactly. So
and you were doing construction in your yard at that time, right? So it turned to mud and it had to be delayed.
Yes, we were. Yes, it was gnarly
moment in time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. And so now whenever it rains, my husband's immediately shuttled back into that. And it's like the body does hold on to that. And I encourage him to seek out something like EMDR or possibly ketamine therapy. And I think he's open to either one of those to help him get over that because climate change is here. Like the Bay Area, it does rain. It's dumping right now. There's a storm warning for tomorrow. Who knows? But like, it's real. It's real for him. So I feel terrible.
Of ketamine therapy,
yes.
Are you comfortable sharing?
Yes, Margie,
who made
I forgot.
An appearance
oh my God.
trip?
I can't believe I forgot to say this. Yes. So I record all my sessions that I do when I'm in the doctor's office. And at home, I have ketamine sessions. And I record it digitally when I'm at home too. Because I like to hear what I'm going to say. And you can't just whip out a pen and write down your thoughts because your thoughts are they're not the same kinds of thoughts you have just like normal day to day. So my therapist that sits with me while I'm under the influence of the medicine, she writes down what I say so we can talk about it after. And she's like, Ramona, you kept saying manipulation, manipulation, manipulation. And then you brought up Kyle. And I remember in my journey, like just going off on Kyle Richards because she's so manipulative. All roads lead to Bravo.
It's amazing.
At some point earlier in the year, I went off on Lisa Barlow. I think I also was talking about Bronwyn in this one. She's like, you were talking about snowboarding. And I was like, oh yeah, I was in Salt Lake City for a hot minute.
But I mean, this is the thing is they can be our teachers.
Yes, they can.
So it's not frivolous.
Mm-mm.
Kyle is a it sounds like she's a marker for manipulation. So anytime you get that Kyle Richards feeling around a human being, you can, be clued into the fact that this person may be trying to manipulate or whatever.
Exactly. So
anyways,
it was just
these
really
weirdos
funny.
are not without their value.
No, they're not at all. Oh, thank you for reminding me of that. I totally forgot.
I didn't. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Because I left you a voice memo. I couldn't even text at that point. I just talked into my phone. I'm like, hey, Margie, I just wanted to tell you before I forget.
Kyle showed up. I was like, yes.
Yeah. It's so funny.
That's great.
Anyway, so that brings us to the end of another A Therapeutic Dose. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to follow us, you can do so at A Therapeutic Dose on Instagram, or you can reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com.
That's it. Happy end of OC. Happy launch into the holiday season.
Yeah. We'll be back this week at some point with a Beverly Hills episode.
Yeah.
So excited for that. And everyone just take good care. I mean, what can be said? Planes, trains, automobiles right now. Take your hand sanitizer. Maybe wear a mask on the plane. People are disgusting. Just going to say. People are gnarly.
Gross.
People are gross.
And if you're not traveling, it's okay to feel lonely. And just a reminder, in my experience, it passes. So if this is a fraught holiday season for any reason, or this one in particular, Thanksgiving is trickier to travel and be around people, but
especially
you're beloved
after the
in
election,
this space,
right.
So hang in and come back.
Yes.
And we can't wait to talk more next week.
Yeah. If anyone needs to reach out for whatever reason, please, the Gmail is always open. The DMs are always open. I promise. And we would love to get messages. So, fuck my family, signed so-and-so in wherever. I will validate that. I promise. Anyway, All right, everyone, take good care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are
Obviously
not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.